Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Evoke Bike Podcast. Real quick shout out. Thank you to a couple of our supporters from Anchor, Max Schneider and Craig Grube. And we had a YouTube supporter. I can't find your name. Thank you for doing that. That was awesome. And what's up to our newest followers, Salim, Marcus, Velo Perfecta, Mateo, and Greg. And let's get into this episode. We had a couple responses from the last video, and I wanted to talk about this because a pretty high level athlete made a very similar comment to one of their VO2Max workouts that I want to share because, not to call this person out, but it's very common to be anxious before a hard interval set, and that can definitely affect your performance, or I should say, how we manage that anxiety will affect our performance. And in the comments from YouTube, one guy said, I can totally relate to not only psyching myself out for the 20-minute FTP test, but to stressing myself out over it. And sometimes life stress also gets in the way to add on top. Just recently, I was supposed to do a 20-minute test and had a really stressful, serious family situation happen the night before. And so the test was obviously horrible. I bailed 12 minutes in. I just was not in it at all mentally. I think what you said is dead on about when you're feeling great, just give it a go. Thanks for talking about this. I thought this was something maybe with just me that the mental aspect gets in the way and I should just be able to push through. It's not just him, and it's not always something that you can just push through. If you are not hungry to go super hard, you might go 90% random percentage, right? You are not going to set a PR. And at the same time, I also think there are days where people say, oh, I had bad legs. I just don't want to go. I'm not going to go try the effort. I've had days where I've warmed up. I do the same warm up every time for all the intervals. And I'm like, man, this is not going to be the day, but I'm going to give it a try anyways. And the body just turns on when it's actually game time. So my strategy for when I don't feel great is I at least give the first one a shot. And if it's crap, it's just a crap day. I'm going to go ride endurance and I don't stress it. Part of me is like, sweet, I don't know how to do this workout today. I'm going to go ride endurance instead. But no, I asked myself, okay, what happened over the past 4 days? Definitely now at age 40, I hate to say this. I hate being that guy. Oh, no, I'm old and now in my old age of 40 years old. But we smashed this weekend on Saturday and Sunday. Forrest came up to 10,000 plus foot days. I think both days were 5 hours. I can't remember the KJs. It was a lot of smashing and was dead on Monday. So, if I didn't ride well today, I would say, oh, well, duh, it's because I'm still a little fatigued from the weekend. I had that conversation with another guy he's at the end of 3 weeks of solid training. He's like, I had a bad day Saturday and was really digging deep. I says, probably just a bad day. You're probably tired. That's okay. It's okay to be tired. So anyways, I want to get though to this athlete's comment because it's a very simple comment, but I think the way that we can all approach this, and I'd love to hear your feedback below. What do you do? He went out long ride, had some just 5x3s. So not even really a VO2 Max workout. Some coaches I don't usually give VO2 Max this short. He's also doing some cyclocross stuff. We just wanted to get violent, to be honest. Go really freaking hard for 3 minutes. 3 minutes is a weird duration. So it was like 2.5. You are going way harder than a 5-minute interval. And so he said, man, these types of workouts usually give me major anxiety, but I didn't let it get to me this time. I just got it done. I let the numbers be whatever they were, and they ended up being pretty darn good. I dug deep for sure. So let's categorize what is pretty darn good. It's almost the best numbers that we've seen over the past 3 years from this guy. Season PR, obviously 90-day PR, past 365 PR. He beat it in 2020 on what looks like a super steep climb and went what I would say almost too hard in the beginning. He must have been chasing somebody. So I actually went back to that workout and I said, we need to replicate this and destroy this PR because it pisses me off if there's an old PR that's beating him. But honestly, I really think this is a breakthrough because you don't want to overthink these types of intervals. When you wake up, whatever numbers you're going to put out, they're pretty much set, right? Sure, you need to eat a good breakfast. You need to strategize. If you're riding later in the day, you need to make sure you're leaning your diet towards carbs and getting the food in 3 hours beforehand. But if you're waking up and riding, and that's another podcast in itself. How do you fuel for a early ride? It depends. If I'm going vicious early, I'm going to drink some maple syrup or some honey. And if I actually really feel hungry, if I knew I had this hard ride, I lean my diet towards carbs the night before. So maybe I'll have a piece of bread with some honey on it and maybe a little peanut butter, but I don't want a ton of food in my stomach. I can get the calories in I'll drink some maltodextrin, some maple syrup, and then I'm just going to crush the intervals and then eat at a more rapid pace afterwards. Because remember, you put stuff in your mouth, and yes, you can get exogenous carbs food that you fuel. They can be used, but it's the carbs that are stored, the glycogen in the muscles can be more effective for these hard efforts. So you want to be covering those bases early on. So I would rather him or anyone, instead of worrying about the intervals, worrying is not going to make you think harder and you're just going to have 20 more watts. Just show up and go, but rehearse how this is going to go. And what I said to him is, well, I'll actually tell you what I try to do is more, it's going to hurt. If you can't wrap your head around that, then you're not going hard enough. It's going to be painful. So I said, okay, this is going to suck, but it's pretty short. Even if it's 5 minutes is not that long. And then I think through, where am I doing these intervals? And if it's a constant power or if it's a hard surge or if I'm going for a KOM, I went to do this KOM that's from this group right here. And I knew that the middle portion was where the road gets a little bit steeper. So you're going like 18 and then in the middle you're going 13 and then you end around 20 because it's like flattens out. You need to sprint to the finish. So I knew that I needed to have my best performance above 500 the entire time. It was going to be a sub 5-minute effort. And I want to make up the most time on that steep pitch though. So I stayed right around 500 for the first 220. And when it pitched up a little bit, the last 220 was about 520 average. And the talking through was, hey, the first couple of minutes aren't going to feel great, but that's going to be a piece of cake compared to how you're going to feel when you really ramp it up. Just another 20 watts when you're already crushing can hurt more. And I kept, then I tell myself, well, why am I doing this? Well, because I want to try and be my fastest version of myself. I want to try and win a bike race next year. I want to win this KOM and put my name on that board. Sure, why not? I have no more races this year. I might as well go for something. So the other thing is, and we were actually talking about this in the Discord, some people will immediately say in the comments, like, hey, what about positive self-talk? And that doesn't work for everyone. But if that does, to kind of pump yourself up, I can do this. I more like to think of the actions that I'm going to perform. I'm going to go really hard. I'm going to feel this pain and I'm going to push through it. I know it's only 5 minutes at most. If I go over 5 minutes, I didn't get the KOM, so I'm stopping at 5 minutes. And then these workouts are also really good if you're going to do a KOM for one of them, like how to meter the effort. And so another thing you could say, I had typed this in the Training Peaks. I'll just read it. I said, I know I'm going to go really hard today. I know that it's going to hurt, but it's only for X amount of minutes. That's really short. And if I want to win something this year, this is what it's going to take. I'm doing this workout to win. Then it makes the whole workout worthwhile. Now I just don't feel like a dumbass on the side of the road trying to crush myself for no reason. And it's something beyond doing it for Strava KOMs, even though who doesn't want a Strava KOM? I mean, that's what we're all training for, right? Go out there, be hungry, and just really try your hardest. Doing that is going to give you a better performance than being worried about you doing your best. The worrying and the stress and the anxiety is not making you faster. It's reducing your watts. And then we should have another podcast. The more comments that a couple people have made about like really going hard, really going vicious on the bike. It doesn't feel good. Winning feels really good, but getting to that spot, you need to go very, 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 very hard. The end.